Hello, Hunter. Hello, Archie and Carlo. This is Grandpa Reags. How are you? We live in interesting times, don't we? Hey, there's this special flu that's going around that we've got to be very, very careful of. We've got to keep a long way away, 1 arm length by 2, away from other people. Otherwise, we could catch it and bring it home to our mum and dad, and that wouldn't be good, would it? We've got to look after our teachers too at school. Got to make sure we don't sneeze. Got to cover our mouths. If we're going to cough, we've got to cough into our arms. We've got to not spread any germs. Don't do that. And we might have to wear a mask one day, but listen to mum and dad. They'll tell you if you have to wear a mask one day. But anyway, maybe in a few months' time, it'll all be over and things will be back to normal and we can all see each other again, and Grandpa Reags can come down and visit you all and cuddle you all and take you to see a movie or go bowling. Wouldn't that be great, eh? We can't wait. Anyway, I've got a little story to read for you today, because today happens to be ANZAC Day in 2020, which is the year. And this is called the Steadfast Tin Soldier, because ANZAC Day is a special day of the year where we stop to remember and think about our relatives long time ago who fought in wars, and maybe some of them died, or they fought in wars and they got hurt. So we take time to think about them and to say in our own way, thank you. Thank you for defending Australia. Thank you for defending your family. Okay, now this is the Steadfast Tin Soldier by Hans Christian Andersen. Once upon a time there were 25 toy tin soldiers. They were brothers, for they had all been made from the same tin spoon. They wore fine red and blue uniforms and carried little guns, and they all lived together in a carved wooden box, just like this. The first words they ever heard came from a little boy as he lifted the lid off their wooden box. "Oh, look," the boy cried, "tin soldiers." It was the boy's birthday, and he'd been given the tin soldiers as a present. Clapping his hands with delight, the boy set the tin soldiers on the table. They were all exactly alike except for one who had but one leg. He'd been made last, and there had not been enough tin left to finish him properly. And this is what he looks like. He's only got one leg, the poor tin soldier. Besides the soldiers, the table was covered with all sorts of wonderful toys. The prettiest was a paper castle. This castle was so beautifully made that through its windows could be seen little rooms, complete with tiny paper furniture and tapestries. In front of the castle, little paper trees stood around a small mirror that was meant to be a lake, and on the mirror lake swam tiny wax swans. All this was very lovely, but the loveliest part of the castle was a tiny dancer who stood in the castle door. Can you see the little dancer standing in the castle door? Let me know, I can't hear you. Yes? Oh, that's good. This is what she looks like, a better picture of the tiny dancer. The dancer too was made of paper. She wore a dress of white tulle. A little blue ribbon was wrapped like a shawl around her shoulders. This ribbon was held in place with a silver sequin the same size as her face. The little dancer's arms gracefully stretched out in front of her, and one of her legs was raised so high behind her that the little tin soldier could not see it. Can you see her hind leg? It's raised so high, the little tin soldier can't see it. Can you? I can't hear you, can you? No, neither can I. She must have only one leg, just as I do, he thought. How pretty is she? She'd make me the perfect wife. Then he thought sadly, but she's far too grand for me. She lives in a fine castle while I live in a wooden box that I share with my brothers. Still, I must try to get to know her." So the little tin soldier stretched out on the table behind a snuff box. From there he could watch the little dancer. When evening came, the little boy put all the other tin soldiers back in their wooden box. Then the people of the house turned out the lights and went to bed. When the people were asleep, the toys came to life and began to amuse themselves. They visited with each other and danced and played all sorts of games. The dolls waltzed, the teddy bears played leapfrog, the coloured pencils chased each other over the drawing pad, and the cuckoo in the clock sang a lively song. The tin soldiers rattled the lid of their box, for they wished to get out and join in the fun. Only the tin soldier and the little dancer stayed still. She stood on tiptoe in the castle door and held one leg stretched out behind her as steadily as the tin soldier stood on his one leg. The little tin soldier stared at the little dancer and she stared back, but neither of them spoke. Can you see them? And there's the cuckoo clock. At the stroke of midnight, the lid of the snuff box sprang open and out popped a little red goblin. "Tin soldier," growled the goblin, "you will please remember to keep your eyes to yourself." But the tin soldier pretended not to hear. Then the goblin said in a nasty voice, "Very well, I'll take care of you tomorrow." With that, he disappeared into the snuff box. Early the next morning, the little boy came running into the room with his brother. They picked up the little tin soldier and set him on the windowsill. Now, I don't know whether it was the red goblin's doing or not, but just then a strong gust of wind blew the little tin soldier off the sill. Down, down the tin soldier fell 3 stories onto the street below. It was a terrible fall. He landed head first with his gun stuck between 2 cobblestones and his leg in the air. The children and the maid ran outside to look for him, but they couldn't find him anywhere. Can you see the little tin soldier after his fall? He fell down a long way into the cobblestones. That afternoon it began to rain. It was a quick, hard rain that filled the gutters. When it was over, 2 boys came out to play. "Look," one of them cried, "there's a tin soldier. Let's make him a boat." So they made a boat out of an old newspaper. Then they set the little tin soldier in the boat and sent him sailing down the gutter. Can you see him in the gutter? In the paper boat? How fast the little paper boat went! How deep the water seemed! The little tin soldier couldn't help being frightened, but he bravely stood as straight as he could and held tightly to his gun. Suddenly the little paper boat was swept into a drain and down a dark tunnel. "How black it is in here," thought the little tin soldier. "Where am I going, I wonder? It is all the goblin's fault. Oh, if only the little dancer were here with me, then I wouldn't care even if it were twice as dark." And there he's sailing down in this tunnel. He doesn't know where he's going. Just then a large water rat swam up to the boat. "Where is your passport?" he hissed at the tin soldier. "Give it to me at once." The tin soldier did not reply, but grasped his gun more tightly. So the water rat gnashed his teeth and howled, "Stop him! Stop him! He hasn't shown his passport." But the little paper boat was soon carried away by the current. There's the nasty rat asking for the passport. Got to turn the page. Sometimes the pages get stuck together. Now the soldier could see a light ahead. As the boat drew closer to the light, he heard a terrible roaring sound. It was loud enough to strike fear into the bravest heart. You see, the tunnel emptied into a canal. The plunge would be as dangerous for the tin soldier as an enormous waterfall would be for you or me. The little tin soldier was terribly afraid, but he stood as straight as ever and shouldered his gun. Can you see the picture? The paper boat tumbled down into the canal. It whirled round and filled with water. The tin soldier didn't move a muscle. Instead, he thought of the pretty little dancer whom he was sure he would never see again. Then he remembered the words of an old military song. "Farewell, soldier, true and brave, going toward your cold, dark grave. Finally, the paper boat dissolved in the water and the little tin soldier sank. What's this? Oh, he's in trouble now. Just then a large fish swam by and swallowed the tin soldier. How dark it was inside the fish's belly, even darker than in the tunnel, but the little tin soldier still stood straight and bravely shouldered his gun. The fish darted this way and that until the tin soldier felt terribly shaken up. Then after a time the fish was still. Next a flash of lightning seemed to pass through the fish, and the little tin soldier found himself in daylight again. "Why, look," cried a voice, "here's the tin soldier." You see, the fish had been caught and taken to market, where the cook had bought him. She brought him back to the kitchen and cut him open with a big knife. And here's a picture. The cook picked up the tin soldier between her fingers, and she carefully carried him upstairs so everyone could see the amazing little soldier who'd travelled so far in the belly of the fish. When the cook set the tin soldier on the table, everyone cried in glee and admiration. The tin soldier looked around. To his amazement, he was back in the very room that he started from. The little boy was there, and so were the other 24 tin soldiers, as well as all the rest of the toys. In the corner of the table stood the paper castle. The tin soldier saw that the pretty little dancer was still standing on one leg in the castle door, for she was as steadfast and true as he himself was. When the little tin soldier saw the dancer, he was so touched that if he could, he would have wept tears of tin. But of course he couldn't. So he only stared at the little dancer, and she stared at him, and neither of them spoke. Just then the little boy picked up the tin soldier and threw him to the fire. I think this really must have been the Red Goblin's doing, for why else would the little boy have done such a thing? Flames flared around the little tin soldier. The heat felt terrible to him, but whether it was the heat of the fire or the warmth of his feelings for the little dancer, he couldn't say. The bright colours faded from his uniform, but even that might have been from sorrow. He stared at the little dancer and she stared at him. He could feel himself melting away, but he still stood as straight as ever, for he was a brave, true soldier. Just then the door of the room flew open, and a draught of wind picked up the little dancer. She fluttered across the room, right into the fire, beside the little tin soldier. Flames blazed around the little dancer, and in a flash she was gone. Beside her, the tin soldier slowly melted away into a lump of grey metal. The next morning, when the maid cleared away the ashes, all she found of the little tin soldier was a small tin heart. Of the pretty little dancer, nothing was left except her sequin, and that was burned as black as coal. And that is the story of the little tin soldier. I hope you liked it, Hunter and Archie and Carlo. This is Grandpa Reags, wishing you farewell for now, and we'll see you soon. Bye for now.